I'm sure there are a lot of Lion fans out there now saying, good for Michigan, but I want to know what the Lions are going to do. We've got you covered on that. Jeff Risdon from Lions Wire and Draft Wire joins us. Jeff, who do you like for the Lions at 29?
Well, it's a lot tougher when they're picking at 29 than when they are at 6 or 2. There's a few players. My personal favorite player is Illinois defensive tackle Johnny Newton. You might know him as Jurjan. Defensive wrecking crew on the interior. I would love to get him. I don't know if he's going to be there. There's quite a few players that are palatable this year in this range. And, picking later, it's different. It's different for all of us who cover it. We're used to having a pretty good idea of who the Lions are going to take, and we're going into this not really knowing what's going to happen.
That's kind of about time, right? That's a good problem to have. Last year, you were really high on Brian Branch, and the Lions got him in the second round. Is there a guy like that you'd yell to Brad Holmes, take him, if he's there when they're on the clock?
There is, but it's actually not in the first round. It's in the second round. That would be Kansas State offensive lineman Cooper Beebe. I love this guy. He is an instant upgrade at either guard position, and I say that knowing that the Lions are pretty good at guard already. He can also play left tackle in a pinch. They need a lot of help on their offensive line on the depth side. Look, every person that they draft this year, there's a very good chance that none of them will start in 2024. So you're looking ahead to 2025 and beyond. Beebe is a guy that can be a Pro Bowl player, and you can get him at 61 in the second round. I would be ecstatic if we got that one.
Will Brad Holmes ever draft for need, or is he always best available?
In the past, it's been tough to ascertain which is which because they needed so much. This year, I think you can pretty much narrow down, and we will definitely be able to answer that question after this weekend. I will say, I think that his view of their needs is a little bit more long-term than what the fan and a lot of the media reaction is. He's looking, this draft is not necessarily going to impact 2024. This is about 2025, 2026, and the needs that he sees on this team after free agency and retirements and things like that. And I think that's the way that he plays it. It's more of a slow burn on the draft, which, again, is very different for Detroit fans, and it's something that we will happily have to get used to if it means that we keep winning.
All right, if you were the Lions GM, what is this team's biggest need?
I would say on offense, they do need to replace Josh Reynolds in the lineup at wide receiver. I'm not convinced that they've done that yet, and I am high on Jameson Williams, but I still need more. But offensive line depth, this offense works because the offensive line is so good. If they get any injuries at all right now, they're in a lot of trouble, especially at tackle, where their only real backup is Dan Skipper, and they don't like playing Dan Skipper as one of their two tackles. They like him as the third, so that's a big one. Defensively, they've got to get more cornerback help. They've got to get safety help, especially with the recent news of Kirby Joseph having some surgery. They're pretty thin across the board there on defense. Other than linebacker, they can really take anything on defense, and I think you can call it a need. Defensive tackle, not a huge need, but again, if you can get somebody really good in there, that would definitely be an advantageous pick too.
Yeah, they signed DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport to help Aiden Hutchinson, maybe put some pressure on that quarterback. Is that enough? Is there a guy in this draft that could fall in the Lions' lap that you'd really like?
In the first round, if UCLA's Latu falls, and it's because he once medically retired when he was at Washington, he's played 2 years at UCLA, played great, has no ill effects from it. If he's available at 29 because other teams got scared, I would love that. And I think that Brad Holmes would, provided that the medicals came out okay, would love that too. He's tend to turn a blind eye to medicals from the past, or at least a lesser critical eye than a lot of times. So he's one. I will say, I do think that they expect more out of Josh Paschal this coming season. And also, don't forget James Houston, who burst onto the scene with eight sacks in the end of his rookie season in the final 6 games. He'll be back and healthy this year, and hopefully he can contribute somewhere close to what he did back then. If they get that, that's enough. But if they don't, they're probably going to want to get a little bit more help than what they've got.
Last thing I've got for you here, Jeff. We saw Marshawn Nealon's name kind of as one of the risers right around the time and shortly after the Combine. Where do you like him being taken right now?
He's got a chance to be gone before the Lions even pick at number 29, believe it or not.
Really?
He's moved himself with workouts and interviews into the 25 to 35 overall range. So the Lions are right in the middle of that. I couldn't tell you if they have a lot of interest in Marshawn, but I'll tell you what, you can't go wrong by drafting a guy who's worked that hard and battled through all that he's gone through. He's made himself into a very viable first or early second round pick, and he won't have to wait long on Friday night if he doesn't get his name called on Thursday.
All right, sorry, one more last thing. You've been covering this draft for some time now. To have this in Detroit, how exciting is this? What is this city in for?
You know, it's a lot of fun to be a part of the draft. I did go to a draft at Radio City Music Hall back before they started the Traveling Road Show. I've been to the drafts in Chicago and Cleveland, and I will tell you, you will see an influx of fans from all over the country and all sorts of fan bases. But they put the rivalries aside. It's sort of like a kumbaya moment for everybody just coming together and realizing that we all want the same thing. We all want our teams to get better this weekend, and we can do that collectively together. It's a great showcase for downtown Detroit. I haven't been down there yet, but it looks like they're getting pretty close to having everything ready and set up, and it's going to be beautiful. It'll be a wonderful event. Hopefully the weather holds out, and it will be a great event for, gosh, you could get 1.5 million people over the 3 days of the draft, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great food. There's activities for the kids. If you can find parking downtown, it's going to be a blast to go to.